I woke up to the sound of my own name coming from my sister's mouth. It was still dark, and the only light inside our family compound was the small kerosene lamp near the kitchen. I heard her talking to someone in a low voice. I stood behind the curtain, holding my breath. Then she said it again, my full name slowly, like she was signing it somewhere. That night was the first time I felt fear enter my home like a thief. My name is Janet. I grew up in a small village where everybody knows your mother, your father, and even the way you like your gari. In our village, people don't hide things well. Secrets always find a way to walk outside. My sister's name is Ngozi. She is older than me by 3 years. When we were younger, she would hold my hand when we crossed the road. She would share her chin-chin with me. She would even fight anyone who insulted me. So when she started changing, I didn't notice on time. It began the year I finished school. I was the first in our house to get that far, and my parents were proud. I was not rich, but I was hopeful. I used to sit under the mango tree behind our house, writing plans in a small notebook. One afternoon, a woman came to our compound. Her name was Madame Nancy. She sold fabrics and hair products in town, and people respected her because she always looked neat and spoke like someone who had seen life. She greeted my mother and asked for me. "I heard your daughter is serious," she said. "I need someone to help me in my shop. If she learns well, I can connect her to something bigger." My mother looked at me like God had answered our prayers. I was shaking inside, not from fear, but from joy. Madame Nancy gave a date. "Next Monday, bring her to town. I will register her name and start her training." That night, my father killed a chicken. We ate like people who had just won something. Even my sister smiled and said, "God has remembered us." But after that, my sister started acting like she was the one going. She kept asking Madame Nancy questions. She kept following my mother around. She even started waking up early to iron clothes. I thought she was just excited for me. Then, the strange thing started. The first thing was my notebook. I kept it under my pillow. One morning, I found it on the table in the sitting room. Open, like someone had read it with interest. I asked my sister, "Did you touch my book?" She looked me in the eye and said, "Why will I touch your book? Stop thinking everybody is jealous of you." Her voice was sharp, too sharp. The second thing was the date. My mother told me Monday again, but when I reminded her, she said, "No, it is Wednesday." I knew what I heard. I also knew my mother's memory was not perfect, so I kept quiet, but I marked both days in my mind. On Monday morning, I woke up early and bathed. I wore my best dress. I sat waiting. My mother looked surprised. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To meet Madame Nancy," I said. My mother frowned. "It's Wednesday, I told you." I felt my stomach drop. I looked at my sister. She was sitting calmly, eating akara like nothing mattered. "Are you sure?" I asked again. My mother nodded. "Yes, Wednesday." I went back to my room and sat on the bed, like someone who had lost something but didn't know what. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around midnight, I heard whispers again. I heard my sister's voice. I heard the soft clink of a metal spoon, like someone stirring tea, but there was no tea. I stepped out quietly. I moved close to the kitchen window. Ngozi was there. And she wasn't alone. A man sat beside her, wearing a cap low on his face. He held a small brown envelope. He spoke in a calm voice, like this was a normal business. Ngozi said, "It will work. Just write her name. I will handle the rest." The man asked, "Which name?" Ngozi answered, "Janet." My heart beat so loud, I thought it would expose me. Then, she said something that made my legs weak. "She doesn't know. On Wednesday I will go. When they call her name, I will answer." I held the window frame so I would not fall. I wanted to rush inside and shout. I wanted to wake my parents, but fear held my mouth shut. In our village, once people start saying family matter, it becomes heavy. People will tell you to endure. People will say, "It's your sister, don't break the home." So I went back to bed and pretended I didn't hear anything, but inside me something broke. Wednesday came. My mother woke up early and started packing my bag wrapper, sandals, small food, and a bottle of water. She was smiling. I watched my sister. She dressed like someone going to meet a governor. She even tied her headscarf in a style she only used for weddings. I said, "I will go alone." My mother laughed. "Your sister will follow you. 2 heads are better." I looked at my sister. She didn't even pretend to refuse. On the road to town, Ngozi walked close to me like she was protecting me. But her hand kept touching the strap of my bag, like she owned it. When we reached Madam Nancy's shop, the woman smiled and said, "Ah, you came." Then she looked at my sister and said, "So this is Janet." My mouth went dry. I said quickly, "No ma, I am Janet." Madam Nancy paused. My sister didn't. She stepped forward and said, "Yes ma, I am Janet." Just like that. Like my life was a dress she could wear. I turned to my mother. "Mama, tell her I am Janet." My mother looked confused. She glanced at my sister, then at me. Ngozi's face was calm, but her eyes were warning me. Madam Nancy looked annoyed. "What is this? Are you playing with me?" I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. My mother doesn't like public shame. If you push her too hard in front of people, she shuts down. Ngozi pulled a paper from her bag. "Ma, here is the form." Madam Nancy collected it. I saw my name on it, Janet. But the photo was my sister. My knees felt weak. My breath was shaking. I whispered, "How?" Ngozi leaned close and said softly, "Destiny is for the strong." That was the moment I understood. She did not just want my opportunity. She wanted my whole future. I left the shop and sat outside on a small bench. People passed. Cars honked. Town life moved like it didn't care. After some minutes, Madam Nancy came out. She looked at me for a long time. Then she asked, "What is your real name?" I said, "Janet." She asked, "Can you read?" I nodded. She handed me the form. "Write your name here, slowly." I wrote it. My hand was shaking, but the letters were clear. Madam Nancy stared at the 2 papers, same name, different handwriting, different face. She turned and called my mother. "Mama," she said, "I don't like lies. If your house wants to do games, carry your children and go." My mother started begging. She held Madam Nancy's hand. Ngozi tried to talk, but Madam Nancy raised her hand. "I asked for Janet because people spoke well of her," Madam Nancy said. "But today I saw 2 things. One girl who is quiet and scared, and one girl who can lie with a straight face." Ngozi's eyes flashed with anger. Madam Nancy looked at me again. "Do you truly want to learn work?" I nodded. "Yes, ma," she sighed. "Then come tomorrow, alone. If you come with drama again, I will block you." I stood up slowly, like a baby learning to walk. On the way home, nobody spoke. When we reached the compound, my mother started crying. My father was angry. Neighbors gathered. People talked. Some people blamed my sister. Some people blamed me for embarrassing family. That night, my sister didn't say sorry. She only said, "If you had sense, you would share." I looked at her and realized something painful. Not everybody who calls you sister wants you to shine. I went to Madam Nancy's shop the next day, alone. I worked hard. I learned fast. I kept quiet and watched everything. After some months, Madam Nancy introduced me to a woman who needed a shop assistant in a bigger market. That small chance grew into something real. But the scar stayed, because betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from the person who ate from the same pot with you. Moral: not everyone close to you wants your progress. Protect your plans and don't hand your future to someone just because you share blood.